Hey there, my little nightmares, and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we will be taking a look at another amazing horror anthology series. This time we are traveling over to Greece, where we will be looking at Whispers of the Night, ancient Greek tales for sleepyheads written by Nadia Berninkina and published in 2021. This book contains 5 creepy stories based off of ancient Greek mythology. And without further ado, let us begin. Number 1. The Haunted House of Hades. The first story in this collection is called The Haunted House of Hades, and it takes place in the land of the dead. It begins with a young woman named Percy, who has recently inherited her father's estate. She lives in a small village with her mother and little brother, and both of them are very worried about her moving into the mansion because it is rumored to be haunted by ghosts. Percy, however, doesn't believe these rumors and moves right in anyway. That night she hears chains dragging metal moans, and even sees the specter of an emaciated old man dragging himself closer and closer to her bedroom. Of course, Percy is terrified, but she manages to grab a torch and shoo him away. The next night the ghost comes back, but this time he disappears before she can stop him. And then every single night after that, the ghost would come and do the exact same thing. After enduring this for weeks on end, Percy decides to confront the ghost and put an end to this once and for all. When she follows the ghost down the hallway, she finds that it leads to a door that was previously sealed shut. She opens the door and discovers a room that is full of holes, and after peeking out of one of the holes, she sees her own garden. With this newfound knowledge, Percy seals up the holes and places some flowers in front of the door. Every night after this, the ghost would still drag himself to the door, but now he simply stood outside of it, never coming inside again. One day, Percy's brother falls ill, and she goes to the Oracle of Delphi for help. The oracle tells her that her brother will die unless she can bring Hades, the god of the underworld, to their home. As you may have guessed, Hades lives in the underworld, which is accessible through the door in her house. When Percy goes back home, she prepares a bath for Hades and welcomes him warmly. However, the ghost appears and tries to prevent Hades from entering the house, but Percy stops him and allows Hades to come in. Percy asks Hades if he would like to take her brother's illness upon himself, and he agrees. Afterward, Percy's brother is cured of his sickness, and everyone lives happily ever after. Or maybe they don't. Maybe her brother gives her the same sick curse that she gave Hades, or maybe Hades curses her for outsmarting him. I don't know. The ending is pretty ambiguous. Number 2. The Lament of Medusa. This story starts out with a young girl named Medusa who lives in a temple high atop a mountain. She spends her days weaving tapestries and listening to travelers tell stories, and she longs to explore the world for herself. But Medusa's mother won't allow it. You see, Medusa's mother was a Gorgon, and Medusa herself was prophesied to give birth to a monster when she reached the age of 16. To prevent this, her mother kept her trapped in the temple. On Medusa's 16th birthday, however, the king of a nearby kingdom arrives and demands that she marry him. Her mother is furious, but she has no choice but to accept. On the wedding night, Medusa refuses to consummate the marriage, and the king becomes enraged. In a fit of anger, he strikes Medusa, and she retaliates by transforming him into a snake. Horrified by what she had done, Medusa flees to the Oracle of Delphi for help. The oracle, however, informs her that she must now live out the remainder of her life as a Gorgon. Devastated by this news, Medusa wanders into the forest and comes across a group of nymphs. They invite her to bathe with them, and afterward, they lead her to a cave and make her their leader. Over time, Medusa grows to love her new life. But one day, some hunters arrive at the cave, and one of them, named Perseus, kills her. And as a last-ditch effort, she curses him so that anyone who looks directly at him will turn to stone. And that is how Medusa became the monster that we all know and love today. Wait a second. Do we actually love her? I honestly don't know anymore. Sometimes I love her and sometimes I hate her. Kind of like Rumpelstiltskin, if I'm being honest. Number 3, Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus and Eurydice are two lovers who live in ancient Greece. One day, while picking flowers in the forest, Eurydice is bitten by a venomous snake and she quickly falls ill. Orpheus is devastated by this and goes to the Oracle of Delphi for help. The oracle tells him that his lover is in hell and that he must go there and rescue her. So Orpheus does just that. He travels to hell and plays his lyre so beautifully that the Furies are moved to tears and allow him to take Eurydice's hand. However, he is warned not to look back until they reach the gates of the upper world. Overcome with love and fear, Orpheus cannot help but glance back at Eurydice, and she disappears from his grasp, never to be seen again. Devastated by his loss, Orpheus throws his lyre to the ground and dies. And now, whenever a musician is particularly talented, it is said that they were either loved by Orpheus or by Eurydice. Number 4. The Giant Alcyoneus. Alcyoneus is a giant who lives high atop Mount Othrys. One day, Heracles ventures to the mountain to slay Alcyoneus. But after fighting him for 7 days straight, he realizes that he just can't seem to kill him. Turns out Alcyoneus has a special ability that allows him to become stronger the longer the fight goes on. Heracles knows that he cannot win by strength alone, so he tricks Alcyoneus into letting him drink some water from a nearby spring. Once Alcyoneus lets down his guard, Heracles tackles him and pins him down. As the two struggle, Heracles is able to pull out one of Alcyoneus's golden teeth, which turns out to be a magical talisman that gives its wearer super strength. With this newfound power, Heracles is easily able to defeat the giant. And afterward, he claims the talisman as his own. Number 5. The Judgment of Midas. King Midas is a ruler who lives in Phrygia, and he is famous throughout the land for his love of music. One day, Apollo and Pan decide to hold a contest to see who is the better musician, and Midas is chosen as the judge. However, he is warned not to touch either of their instruments, or else he will be cursed. While watching Apollo play, Midas becomes so overcome with emotion that he reaches out and touches the god's lyre. As soon as his fingers make contact with the strings, Midas is transformed into an ass. Realizing that he has been cursed, Midas runs away and hides in a cave. But shortly after, Dionysus comes across him and offers to reverse the curse if Midas can name 3 things that he enjoys the most. Midas thinks for a moment and says, wine, women, and song. Dionysus is pleased with his answers and changes him back into a human being. But in doing so, he also grants Midas the ears of an ass. Though the curse is eventually reversed, Midas's ears remain the same, and he is forced to wear a crown to hide them. And now, before we wrap things up, I want to mention that there are 2 more stories in this book. The problem is they are only available in the hardcover edition, which I do not own. So if you want to hear those 2 stories, you will have to buy the book yourself. Sorry, but as for my personal opinion of this collection, I thought that it was great. The stories were interesting and well written, and I especially liked the artwork. Each story had its own unique art style, which I thought was a nice touch. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please consider following for updates. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.